Hey everybody, I'm Tommy. What's happening? You are on the lifeboat. Maria, good to see you. Roberta, what's happening? Sandy, Wendy, Lisa Miller, good to see you. Lisa, Cliff and Ferguson, Kristen, Melinda, Mod Supreme, good to see you. Just Joan, how are you? So, if you saw the thumbnail, and you can hear my cat, squirrel's doing a little crunching. If you saw the thumbnail today, I've actually come for a little good news. I'll tell you something. You can get to a juncture when life is ugly that nothing good seems to happen. Right? You get on these tears, and it's not just personal stuff. Right? I know that we focus on that, but the world in general is a very depressing place to look at. I think that most people believe that the world is out of control. I'll tell you though. I had a couple. This is not the good news, but it is damn good news. Hello, Caroline in Canada. Barbara Aldrich. I heard a rumor. I won't say what it is, but it's good to see you. There's a lot of ugly in this world that doesn't have anything to do with me, oddly enough. It's depressing to watch the world that we now live in. Somebody left me a comment that said, "What the F, Tommy? Defending Diddy?" God, man, nobody listens to anything I say. Diddy is a dirtbag who beat up Cassie Ventura, and I am quite convinced he has raped a bunch of people. I'm not convinced he raped 133 of them. And a lot of the stories that I have had all kinds of time to research the crap out of just don't pass the smell test. And that's all I was saying. And that is the world that we currently find ourselves residing in. There are so many of the stories that are coming out now that don't pass the smell test. And that's the only comment I was making on Diddy. And it's frightening because once the world is in the tank for you, it doesn't matter if you're innocent or guilty. Now, I believe Diddy is guilty. But you can't live in a world where because someone is guilty, you can say anything you want about him and convict him for that. That's a freaking problem, right? And if you don't believe it is, look at Harvey Weinstein. There's a reason Harvey's back in court for a new trial. And the reason isn't because he's white, because I get that a lot. The issue isn't because he's rich or powerful. It's because when the next court got a hold of it, they went, where's the evidence? More importantly, how did you allow women who have nothing to do with the case come in and say, he raped me? That's not supposed to happen. You understand? It's not supposed to happen. They let a bunch of people who aren't on the case come in and go, yep, he's a rapist. Yep, he's a rapist. Now, they're not subject to cross-examination or any of that such shit. It really goes outside the purview of what's supposed to happen in the courtroom in this country. They're doing it with Diddy, by the way, which means we're probably going to be going, holy crap, he's getting a new trial? Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised because they're going to do the same thing with him because when all of us get pissed off enough, then we will allow you to do anything to the person we're pissed off at, including trample all over their civil rights, fix the trial into whatever it needs to be, allow anything to go on that shouldn't because it's a bad man or a bad woman, but it's a bad person. So let's throw out the Constitution and everything that goes along with it. And I did a case the other day. I came on here and I talked about Mahendra, right? Mac. They call him Mac Patel, Mahendra Patel. The prosecution makes a very big point of the fact that this man has a criminal record. Somewhere along the line, one of his business partners said to him, hey, if we kick back about 3% of this order, we can guarantee we get the bid. It's called price fixing. It happens all of the friggin' time. It's not, and in fact, growing up, the first person I ever met that got in trouble was a guy that my dad used to play tennis with. He was French. His name was Francois. He had a company that manufactured gloves, and he sold them to our military. Now, to get that, he kicked about 30 grand to the guy that was the purchasing agent who went out and bought a boat. And the world went, where did he get money for a boat? And the next thing you knew, our friend was arrested and had to go to Allenwood. Never been in trouble before or anything else. Mac didn't have to go to prison. He cooperated fully. In fact, he paid off all of the money that had been basically ill-gotten gains. He paid back every penny of it. He had a co-defendant. But he did what's called jointly and severally. You might want to look that up sometime, right? Jointly and severally means they're both supposed to pay. But since this guy didn't, Mac paid it all. Right? Just a good dude. He's also had a DWI that is yet to be adjudicated, right? Now, the girl who accused him had a DWI that has been adjudicated. She's been busted for it, right? She's also on her second lawsuit. This isn't a lawsuit yet. But as more information comes out, there's a Walmart employee who had been interviewed who said, you know what? She didn't want to call the cops. If your kid just got kidnapped, or attempted to be kidnapped, are you going to report it to Walmart or are you going to report it to the cops? Well, see, Walmart is one of the largest corporations on planet Earth. And I think Miss Miller saw a payday. Now, if you forgot what this cat looks like, let's see here. This is Mac Patel. Probably not the best picture Mac Patel has ever taken, right? Now, I'll stipulate to the fact that this guy probably shouldn't drink anymore. Doesn't make him a kidnapper. Funny thing happened too. They found the camera angle that none of you have seen unless you went back yesterday. But Walmart managed to find a different camera angle where they're actually looking straight down the aisle, right? Straight down the aisle at the interaction. And you see him, this kid falls this way, he catches the kid. Now, the mother said between 10 to 30 seconds of wrestling. The guy went like this, pushed the kid back into the mother's arms, walked away, which is why she gave him the big thumbs up and was all happy as shit with him at the end of it. Mac Patel walked out of jail yesterday. That's good news. He walked out of jail yesterday. Now, the judge has 100% guaranteed seen the same stuff we have and does not believe this man is responsible for kidnapping or any other such crap, which is why he allowed the man to bond out. Now, if you're saying to yourself, why didn't the judge just throw this out? Because we don't have a country that works like that. That's pretty insane, isn't it? The judge who decides all of these issues cannot drop the charges against Mac Patel. The only person that can drop the charges against Mac Patel is the prosecutor. Now, the prosecutor is going to look like a steaming pile of feces if he drops this charge. The world is going to go, why did you charge it in the first place? You charged this cat with kidnapping prior to looking at it, right? We know they did. We know they did, right? They issued a warrant for his arrest prior to going out and interviewing him. It's a bummer. On the bright side, he's been let out. This woman right here, Miss Merchant, that is his attorney. And thank God that is his attorney because she eats bullets, peas, ice cubes, and occasionally dances on water. This is an attorney. This is the kind of attorney you want if you are on the line. And I'll tell you something fascinating that happened at Mr. Patel's trial. See this girl here? This is the woman who accused him of the crime. She's currently saying to her baby in that clip, I swear to God, was he trying to kidnap you? Was he trying to kidnap you? Makes a shitload of sense. She didn't come to the trial. She said the prosecution can handle this. I trust them. I would imagine she didn't want the tons of media that was there looking at her because now the world knows that she's already lied once about somebody who raped her. See, she told Lyft that she got raped. Then the cops had to get involved because it's a rape, right? So when the cops showed up, she went, no, there was no rape because she knew if she lied to the cops, right? In her head, that's a lot worse than lying to Lyft to get a payday. But it matches, doesn't it? If you're that person, that's why you say, I don't want to call the cops. I just want to report this to Walmart because Walmart's not really going to look into it the same way the cops are. And she's already had that experience where she had to tell a cop, no, I didn't get raped, right? She had to change her story once already and she didn't want to do it again. But she got pressured to because anybody on planet Earth that you say, hey, my kid, someone just attempted to kidnap my toddler, everyone you tell is going to go, call the police. Duh. Took 35 minutes for Miss Miller to call the police. Put a 2 in the chat if you find that to be really odd. Good Lord, what do we have here? Let's put this up here. You know what? How can I put that? You know, it's been so long since I had a damn super chat. I'm not exactly sure how to work it. Here we go. Here we go. Thank you, my rhinoceros. Or is that just rhinoceros? Renatner. Tommy, let's be real for those paying attention. The Diddy case is a distraction. Major world events are en route. And the shadow government is stirring up a race war. I pray we aren't that dumb to fall for it. Nobody wins. Now, I'll tell you what, this is a really astute thing to say, right? Because I do believe that we do this on a daily basis, right? The best example of this in all time was when we bombed Mogadishu, right? Why? Because our president had just gotten a Hummer in the Oval Office and didn't want to talk about it, right? Remember that one? What the hell were we doing in Mogadishu? Bombing what? Right? Anyway, we do this all the time. We absolutely do. Don't look over here, right? Smack. We do that all the time in this country. The thing with Diddy is this. I think there's more at play here, Rhinoceros. I don't think you're wrong. I think this is definitely a huge distraction, but I think there's more at play here. And the reason is Diddy is guilty, right? This isn't a made-up case. I'm not saying it's a made-up case. What I'm saying is that once Diddy is convicted of this, and there's a lot of people that know that he's gonna get convicted of this, right? Why? Because he beat the piss out of Cassie Ventura on tape, right? And we're going to see tape from the inside of that hotel room, right? We're going to see the fight start inside that because it was a freak off, you see. So there was a paid sex worker there, and we don't know what caused the fight. Maybe she didn't want to participate anymore. But whatever it is, a fight broke out inside the hotel room. We saw the end of that ass kicking when it got out into the hotel lobby, into the hallway. And he dragged her back into the room by her hair because this was a freak off. And this guy schedules these things. This is his life, right? He wants a freak off. You're going to do it. Hey, Heather Rhodes, good to see you. Hi, honey. Saguaro Christmas. What's happening? So there's a lot going on here. A lot of times when there is a distraction, it's completely made up. This guy, right, they call them false flags. If you say that on here, you get demonetized. But the rape's already demonetized the crap out of this video anyway, so it doesn't really make much of a difference, right? But false flag things happen all the time where they create something to distract us. Now, there definitely is a push toward a race war in this country, right? And the proof in it is that if you hang out with people of an opposite race, you will not believe for a second that we really have a bunch of problems. But if you turn on the news, they hate us and we hate them, right? And it's in their best interest to do that because they would like to exert control. And any single time they can take a little more control back, right? And this is always a popular subject, but let's keep it real, right? When we got bombed in Oklahoma City, do the research on how long it took them to write the Patriot Act and get it enacted. They couldn't have printed off the number of pages that they had to for every single person in Congress and the amount of time that it took to actually get it up there and pass it. And we went like this. We don't want any more bombs. We don't want any more buildings blown up, right? We don't want any of those racist Nazi terrorists, right? The skinheads that want to kill all of the black people who are running wild all over America. We don't want those people around. Yeah. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to pass all of these laws where we give up all of our rights. Rhinoceros, we know he is, but what about Bill Gates giving away $200 billion? That scumbag knows it's coming. Yeah, there's a lot going on. The Gates crowd is, and obviously, Rhinoceros, this is something that you've spent a little bit of time. The Gates Foundation and where they put their money is fascinating. It really is. Now, they can stand up on a high horse and talk about how when you've got, when you're one of the 4 or 5 richest people in the world, you got to give away this much money anyway, right? But what you give it to says a lot about who you are. He buys a lot of food to send to Africa. He buys food to send to Africa that's pretty notorious for making people sterile. Right? It's one of the reasons that a lot of countries don't allow Monsanto food anywhere. Boy, will that kill your video. Monsanto, huh? There's a name you can't say. But Monsanto controls the seeds in this country. You can't buy seeds unless you buy it from Monsanto. And they send it to you with something called a nicotinoid that is already built into the seed. Now, if you're not hip to the nicotinoid thing, the nicotine, right? But used as a way to fight off insects. If insects will not eat your crop, we probably shouldn't either. Just an opinion, right? But we're a country that does an awful lot of bad stuff. I'm getting a bit far afield, but here's what we're looking at. Whether or not this is a false flag or any such, we have lost control of the fifth estate in this country, right? For the longest time, there has been an entity out there that we call the news, right? And Walter Cronkite and right, all of the people that folks used to believe in. Now the news has less than a 7% approval rate, which is a little bit worse than Congress. Nobody in the world believes anything that the news in the United States say. And sadly, the people that run it, if you look at the United States of America currently, there are 3 corporations that basically own about 80% of all of the stock that's out there, right? Really huge corporations. And if I say any of their names, one of them sounds like a color and ends in the name of a stone, right? Or the general heading of a stone. If you mention them, not only will you not get monetized, but your video will literally like get buried in a place where I'll get 6 views. But we have gotten to a point where the news is out of control, and it tells us what we want to hear so that they get. I mean, you could say the same thing, right, about the space flight of Katy Perry and her astronaut associates. And by the way, who cares if they call them astronauts? If all they did was get on that thing, not touch a thing, get launched to the absolute, the highest point you can be launched to and still be in the Earth's atmosphere, it took a crap load of balls. I don't care whether you're a man or a woman. Getting in that rocket, strapping in and letting them light the bottom of that. Everybody on that rocket remembers at least two tragedies of something blowing up after launching. It takes a lot of guts for those women to get on there. Call them whatever you want. But boy, is that a distraction, right? Look at what's trending. We're not talking about important stuff. We never do. We don't. The Fifth Estate has a vested interest in making sure that we don't all get together. Feel me? The Fifth Estate has a vested interest in keeping all of us hating each other. God forbid everybody in America started getting along. We would start making some demands, wouldn't we? Seriously. There'd be a lot of things that we would want fixed. You know something staggering? We have enough money that we have allocated to hand out to people, organizations, charitable things. There's enough out there that people can't figure out how to get the paperwork filled out to get that money. If we were to take all of it and just go, we're going to take every penny of that, right? Bring it all back in and simply give a check to every single American citizen. We could. Just the amount of money that we allocated during COVID-19 that no one is getting, or the amount of money that we have allocated to fight the war on drugs, our second largest budget, by the way. But there's literally hundreds of millions of dollars, right, allocated to guys like me. I fill out paperwork. I could go and speak at a school and get paid by the government to do it. Well, I couldn't, right? Because the hate community would send thousands of emails about how I molest collies. But that money is there. No one's getting it. And there's every time Congress goes up to the Hill and writes some bill and allocates money to something, doesn't mean everybody gets the money. It doesn't. But those jackwagons have to justify their job. What if you went up and said, there really aren't any laws we need to write? I mean, hell, we crank out 30 or 40,000 new ones a year. We don't need any new laws. We're good. We're just going to hang out up here. Well, you can't do that, can you? You got to justify the fact that you just got elected. You got to justify the fact that these people have 15 aides who just do exactly what you tell them to do. Right? Volunteers, kids fresh out of college, whatever. Then you get flights all over the world and all of that craziness that justifies you being a politician in the United States. We have no control over anything that goes on in this country. None. Sadly, that's the truth. The only good news that I can come across is that today is that Mahendra Patel is with his mother tonight. His mother is an octogenarian, right? She's in her mid-80s, and he takes care of her. There's no one else to do so. And he is home with his mother, which is good because he didn't try to kidnap anyone. He talked about the first couple of days in jail and what that was like. You realize, as far as they were concerned, he was not just a kidnapper, but he was a child molester and one that liked little boys, because that's the narrative. Thank God that man got out of there without having the ever-loving crap kicked out of him or getting killed. And I got news for you. Do you know how many times somebody goes to prison for something that they didn't do and the guys kill them? Mahendra Patel had a lot of people praying for him. At the hearing yesterday, hundreds of people showed up for that hearing. They had to get a second room for overflow for the supporters of Mahendra Patel. About a dozen of them flew in from India. There were at least 4 of them that had not seen him since high school. He's my age. But they felt the need to get on a plane and fly to this country to say, no. It's a bittersweet day. Honest to God it is. Because I sat there today and I went, oh, thank God, man. Honestly, like that was a miscarriage of justice. This dude's out, right? Thank God. But then it sits and it makes you wonder. You think I could get 400 people in an adjacent room if I needed support? I could have 3 or 4 months ago. But I have been adjudicated by the court of public opinion, not the 72 of you. Well, probably 50 of you. There's a few douche nozzles that show up every show, but the vast majority of you probably would stick up. But I think we got to start getting better as a country, of not jumping on the bandwagon, of not saying phrases like, remind me why we hate him, right? Ready to go, ready to call up and report him, and call the school where his kid goes and tell him that he smuggles drugs or whatever. I mean, the insanity. Right? It's ready to roll. We got to get better. I got to get better. I said it yesterday. I got to get better. Now, let me go over a couple of other things real quick. Yesterday, I did a fairly positive message here on the boat, and I got a lot of positive response. And then I got a couple of people that are just thoroughly convinced that me and Reese have been running this thing the entire time, right? And now we're getting back together. And I can assure you that's not happening. I promise. That's number one. And number two, do you have any idea the suspension of disbelief required, right? To come up with the concept that I said to Reese, tell the world I'm a con man. This will be great for our business. Honestly, if you're that stupid, get a tack hammer and smack yourself in the head with it 3 or 4 times. You have a shot of making yourself more intelligent with that process. God help us. Somebody make me understand how there would be a benefit to me to say, I got a great idea. Try to destroy me and my brother, right? We'll do it for 2 or 3 months. I will flush 25% of my audience down the toilet, and then we'll be set. Not a lot of brain surgery going on with a lot of these people. I came out yesterday to say I don't have any hate left for her. And I guess that's too much for a lot of people to handle. And I don't hate her. I don't have any hate for her at all. We're also not in any danger of hanging out, talking, communicating. It would have been lovely if maybe someday we could be friends again. I don't know that will ever be possible, even on the outside freaking chance that we wanted to. And I don't think either of us really do, just being honest. But if we really wanted to, can you imagine what the world would do? For real. But fear not, folks. I intend to marry Squirrel Nut Zipper. That is my plan. Hey, Cindy, good to see you. I'm glad that you're here. Delusional, the lot of them, says Sawaro. Yeah, well, there's a lot of truth to that, isn't there? And I think Krista Melinda nailed it too. People really enjoy making things up. They must be incredibly bored. No, you know what it is? And this is funny, right? Pay attention. This is funny. Their life is so boring. Their life is so miserable. Their existence so weak that they got to borrow mine and my brother and my ex-girlfriend and anybody that seems to do something in life that is exciting or is interesting. Now I get it. I mean, a couple of these people haven't been employed in 4 years, right? They live off of the government, and that's sad. It really is. I'm not, and they sit in cars and make videos where they scream about us and go nuts. This is their life. And I guess look, no one does anything, right? If it doesn't deliver for them. Does that make sense? You snort cocaine because it delivers more energy. It'll destroy your life, but it delivers more energy, and it delivers euphoria, and it delivers you a feeling of confidence. It's fake, but it delivers that. People smoke weed because it relaxes them, right? It delivers a relaxation, steals your ambition. You're not going to do anything. You'll sit on the couch, right? Not do anything for the rest of you, but it delivers. Alcohol delivers. Everything we do has something that you get out of it. If there's no payout, then simply put, you don't do it. This fills a need for these people. And the need is this. They're failures. Sorry, it's the truth. Can't maintain a job, right? Strung the hell out on dope, a lot of them. And if you watch videos, you'll see it. It's sad. But people who are really having a tough time in their life, and this delivers a sense of purpose, right? I can't get a job. I can't be successful. I can't own my own place. I can't afford a car, but I can destroy someone who got out of prison and is happy with their life, right? I can destroy this girl who has a kid who's trying to support her on her own, making a YouTube channel, right? I can ruin her life. I can keep her scared. That delivers to them. It's a sickness, make no mistake, but they get something out of what they do. I'm more freaked out by the people that watch, because what it says about you is disgusting. For real. People that like to watch others suffer. I mean, that's it, isn't it? You like hearing dirt on other people. It's pretty damn weak. But it is indicative of the country that we live in. It is indicative of the times that we are in. And it's the reason that when someone gets convicted, right? Like when Harvey Weinstein got convicted, it went like this. Boom! And blew open the doors of Miramax, right? All of the corporations that he owned. You see, once you're convicted, every person that shows up for a lawsuit says he was a convicted rapist. He did this to 2 other people. They had the balls to show up in court and take the abuse of the entire world to say it happened to them. We didn't. But now that it's over, we're going to sue for $25 million a shot or $30 million a shot. And we are going to deplete everything that this guy made over the course of his life down to nothing. And you got any idea the amount of money that the Gloria Allreds of this planet are going to make doing that? It's an industry. Shannon Sharpe, great example. I talked about it yesterday, but I'm going to talk about it again. And I'm going to talk about it a lot because Shannon Sharpe is such an excellent example of what I'm talking about. Shannon Sharpe doesn't enjoy sex the way most other people do. That's his right? But he's into rough sex. And he's into dominating women. And he finds women that are into it, right? And then you send texts. And if you send text to somebody who you're intimate with, you're going to say things like, hey, Roberta, looking good and green. You're going to say things like, yeah, I'm going to hold you down and I'm going to choke you. I'm going to put my hands on your throat. That's just 2 people talking dirty, right? Especially if he keeps making reference to the fact that he's black, right? You want this big black dude doing this. You want this big black guy. I promise you, they've had that exchange back and forth a bunch of times. Put a 2 in the chat if what I'm saying makes any sense to you. This was a group of people that decided that after he did his interview with Cat Williams, that he needed to be destroyed. Allegedly, Shaquille O'Neal was one of those people. Shaquille O'Neal said to a guy, I'm looking for dirt on him and I'll pay massive money for it. And the guy came out and told the whole world that he said it, which I'm sure bums the hell out of him. But you see how easy it is to take words that somebody said that didn't have anything evil attached to them. And he knew that they had him. When this girl popped up, he was a couple of weeks away from signing a $100 million contract. You think that was an accident? You think this girl waited until that time? Because it's just when the stress of what he's been doing to her got so bad that she needed to ask for $10 million on that day. No. There's an attorney sitting in there that goes, he's about to sign a $100 million contract, right? He will pay you $10 million to shut the hell up and go away because he's literally trading your 10 for 90. Why wouldn't you? Well, once you settle that, you did it, right? Oh, he's beating the hell out of her, choking her, beating on her, treating her bad, but it has to be. Why would he settle? Because he doesn't want to lose $100 million. Right? Doesn't want to lose $100 million. That's a lot of money, people. Would you pay someone $10 million to keep 90? I bet you would. The trouble is, then the vultures, right? Then the vultures up in the tree start calling the Gloria Allreds of the planet and start lining up. And then it's another girl who says, you know what? He choked me. Yeah, that's kind of his get down. I think we all can figure out that he's kind of into that, right? Doesn't look. What's the word they use now? Kink shame. Kink shaming? I don't give a crap what gets you off. Right? That's your thing. That's your thing. But I promise you, Blue Bayou, good to see you. You caught alive. But I promise you that the vast majority of this is BS. Right? It's people that want to take him out. Got together behind the scenes and had discussions about how they can ruin that man's life. If you've never had that happen to you, I recommend you don't. It's not any fun. But it's not a lot of fun watching it happen to Shannon Sharpe. Now, Shannon Sharpe's done a lot of other things in his life that are questionable. I'm not saying Shannon Sharpe's a great dude. I'm not. I remember when Shannon Sharpe played the sex tape by accident. He was on Instagram and he accidentally went live on Instagram Live while having relations with a woman, right? At the time, there was a big rumor going around that he was not heterosexual. And I would imagine that that's why he accidentally went live. But one day, Johnny Scoville and I were sitting there. We started screwing around on our Instagram accounts. You got to hit 6 buttons to go live on Instagram. 6. Like, are you sure? Are you sure this is going to make you go live? Are you sure? Shannon Sharpe didn't go live by accident. He wanted to dispel the rumors of him being gay. You know what? Who cares? Who cares? But obviously he does. That woman is suing him now too, by the way. And they're all going to come out of the woodwork. They are all going to come out of the woodwork. Because once the bead gets on somebody, you're not going to stop that machine. There's so much money in it. There's just so much money in it. Cassie Ventura got what she deserved. In fact, she probably should get a lot more money than what she did. But allegedly, she got $35 million. Now, that wasn't one instance, right? This was over a decade of this guy beating on her. She deserves more than that. I do not begrudge anybody who sues somebody for something that they did and gets financial compensation for it. I don't have a problem with that. But when 133 of them come up on one person's, that's just one attorney that was suing him, right? Remember the press conference? I bought it. Hook, line, and sinker. He came out and he said, we got 133. The youngest is 9. The youngest is 9. And then we heard the story about the guy at the flagship store at Macy's in New York. Do a little research on that store. Honestly, do a little research on that store. The storeroom that he was in had a curtain between him and the store. This wasn't a Friday at Macy's. This was a day that they were doing a promotion for Sean John, right? Everybody on earth was there. If that guy went, help, there was a curtain between him and all of those people outside. But he got pistol whipped to his knees in front of 4 dudes who watched all of this go down with a curtain separating them from 1,000 people. Does that pass the smell test to you? I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying it doesn't smell right. It doesn't. Or all of these people that flew their kids to New York and went like this. Here you go, Diddy. Are we really expected to believe that actually there are that many bad parents? There are that many parents that show up with a 9-year-old and go, here, Puff Daddy, take my 9-year-old. I'll be back in 4 hours. Maybe they exist. And maybe it's just because of how I feel about my kids that I can't get that in my head. Right? I can't see leaving my 9-year-old with a rock star. I also struggle to believe that after every one of these occurrences, you drugged a 9-year-old with gamma hydroxybutyric acid. Do you have any idea what that kid would look like for the next 3 days? His parents didn't know something happened. His parents didn't go to the cops. When they handed the kid back after dosing him with G, he isn't going to be normal. That kid would have come out with drool hanging out of this. I don't know if you've ever seen somebody on that drug, but it's not something that you'd hide. You wouldn't hide the after effects. When they said, how was the audition? He would have gone, I don't know what the hell just happened. Right? I don't remember anything, Mom. Does that pass the smell test? It doesn't make sense. Now, maybe those parents just went, hey, great, had a good time. Write me a check. Those people exist. They do. But so far, I've read about a 9-year-old, a 14-year-old, a 13-year-old who was a girl. All of these different people that have lawsuits pending, right? I struggle to believe that the parents of every one of those kids just didn't care enough to do something about it, right? And at the time, that attorney said half of them called the cops. Well, that's just not the truth. It isn't. Start going through all of those reports, and half of them didn't call the cops. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. And I want to like him, by the way. I would really like to like him. I'm not defending Diddy. I hope he never gets out of prison. but I would like him to go to prison for the crap that he did. Well, how about we just do the Cassie Ventura in the hallway video? How about we take care of all of those pesky firearms with large capacity magazines and obliterated serial numbers, and we just go with that, right? But we're getting to the point where we are going to blow this thing up, and we are going to make this so outrageous and so big that the suspension of disbelief required to believe this guy's Satan. He's not a human being. Now, maybe he is. Maybe he is. But there are vultures out the wazoo who are trying to get paid on this. Tons of them. And the lawyers seem completely content to go with it. The one case, honestly, that looks like, of all the ones you read, the one that really looked like it had some legs is the one that Jay-Z and Diddy got thrown out. Honestly. I know that there are people who ripped that apart. That girl was, happy as hell. Give me a lie detector test. Give me a damn. It's disgusting. It's disgusting that I feel the need to come on here and say a lot of what they're saying about Diddy is BS. That's a rough thing to have to say. I don't like Sean Combs. I can't think of a person more disgusting. I take that back. I can't think of too many people that are more disgusting than the diddler. But we don't learn anything in this country, right? But I've said it a million times. When a person gets convicted of something, we all heard, right? Harvey Weinstein. Do you know how many times when I come on here and talk about it, people go, what do you mean he's got a new case? They're not covering it. That's not a big story. It was a great story when they were cooking him the first time. But the fact that everything they did the first time was BS, no, they're not covering that, right? Candace Owens is covering it. A couple other people are talking about it. But see, it doesn't pay. People don't want to hear that Harvey Weinstein didn't do it. Now, once again, I think Harvey Weinstein probably traded oral sex for roles in movies a bunch of times. I believe that. And he should probably go to prison for that. But all of the women that came out, there was 103 of them, right? And 2 ended up walking into court. That means 101 of them were BSing. And the vast majority were BSing because they couldn't even identify the fact that the man's testicles had been removed from his scrotum and tucked into one leg each. His left testicle is in his right testicle is in his right thigh. His left testicle is in his left thigh. He had a medical condition that literally required them to remove his bag, right? The man does not have testicles in the traditional sense of the word. You would assume anyone that had been intimate with him might notice that. In a lot of the cases, they even described him, which means what? It means they're lying. They're making the story up. So, pardon me if I'm more skeptical going forward. And pardon me if I don't hate Diddy enough, compared to what I did last time. I still can't stand the guy. I just don't believe all the stories about him. And I was wide-eyed, right? I was a content creator. And I loved telling the story. I believed the Danny Masterson things. I met the Jane Does. I believe every single thing that they said about Danny Masterson. I don't have a doubt. Nothing. No doubt. Bad person. He's exactly where he needs to be. Diddy needs to go to prison too. But so much of the story around him is BS. And that sucks. It sucks because we're cool with it. Right? It sucks that as a society, we are completely cool with that. Take that Constitution and rip it up. Who cares? If we get the bad guy. And obviously, there's a reason that I started to take a different look at things like this. You feel me? I started to take a different look at things like this because it happened to me. You hear me? They talk about a case that happened when I was 16 and a girl was 15. The story you're getting, I've covered the story on the boat twice. I'm not going to cover it ever again. But they can say whatever they want. They can. I'm a public figure. They can say anything they want. They can also talk about the people that I ripped off, right? Have anybody wondered why I'm not in handcuffs? Because I didn't commit any crimes. Because the stuff you heard is BS. I'll never, ever get that reputation back. I won't. Is what it is, right? And as I said the other day, it spills over into the real world, and that kind of becomes frightening. And I'm taking care of that. I'm moving. I'm doing some things that are going to put me in a position where I feel more secure because the world knows where I live right now. And that's become a bit of an issue. right? Not because I got anything to hide, but because these people are unhinged. I got a 75-year-old woman who I have never met who makes a video about me every single day. And if you ever listen to one of the videos, you would think this woman taught me first grade, right? This woman has known me from the day I took my first breath. I've never met her. I don't know who the hell she is, right? But it's not just me. She's done this to so many people. This is sport. This is entertainment. These are people with really weak minds. Doesn't take a whole lot for someone to go, we got to get this person. And they instantly go, yes. They don't care what for. Why do we hate this guy again? So when we go forward with these cases, we don't know the answers. You realize that, right? The Karen Reed case. Have you heard a solid cop argue the other side of this? I did that last night. I tried to find 4 different people and listen to them argue why Karen Reed is actually guilty. And I don't mean the prosecution. I mean talking heads like what I do, right? So I found people that were cops. And I'll tell you something. I heard a unbelievable, convincing argument that Karen Reed killed this person. They talked about how the scattering of the broken taillights and all of that is perfect for exactly how it happens, right? When a pedestrian is hit by an automobile. It's perfect. It's exactly how it happens. Now, I got a pretty sharp audience, and they're probably saying, yeah, I mean, the cops killed this guy. I would imagine they would know how to throw the stuff around to make it look exactly like every other car wreck, pedestrian versus automobile that they've ever worked, right? That would be the cynic. Sadly, Karen Reed doesn't know whether Karen Reed killed her boyfriend. She knows she didn't do it on purpose, but she doesn't know whether or not she hit him. She doesn't. It's what happens when you get so shiffazed, you can't remember things the next day. That's a bummer, right? But that's her life. You know, she drank a lot that night, right? It varies depending on which story you hear. What, 12 drinks, 14 drinks? Man, I'm 200 pounds, man. I drink 14 drinks. I'm unconscious. She could have hit him. I don't think she did at all. But we get myopic, don't we? We can pick a side, and in 2 seconds, nothing that anybody says is ever going to dissuade you. What was it called? Truthy, Johnny? Truthy. Have you heard this? Started as a joke on a late night talk show. But they had the definition for the word truthy. And the definition for the word truthy is anything that is so true that not even a fact will change it. How's that? Like, I'm a con man and a scumbag. No fact is going to change that. It doesn't matter what I come up with. I said to Johnny Scoville, I'm thinking of hiring a polygraph test, the polygrapher, and having them come in and give them a list of 9 questions. Johnny laughed so hard I thought he was going to have a heart attack. I said to him, what? He goes, well, they're going to say you bought the polygraph test. They're going to say you paid off the guy, right? That you can buy anybody. I go, no, man, these people do it and they're cops and they've got like long careers of, they're not going to believe a damn thing. And if that story doesn't win, you know what they're going to go with? He used drugs to beat it. Or he's such a pathological liar that he can just lie. There's nothing that you can do to rehab yourself. There isn't. So what you do instead is you protect yourself as much as possible from the psychos out there. Funny thing happened to me yesterday. Or maybe it was the day before. But I've done a couple of videos in the last few days. And in one of them, I talked about journaling. And somebody left a comment that said, in all of the years that I've been trying to figure this out, it's never made any sense until tonight. I know where to go from here, Tommy. And you may not believe that, but that feels better than drugs. And then there was another one that said, I thought I was the only person that ever felt this. Thank you so much for saying what you said. Funny thing happened. I started to remember why I sat in this friggin' chair in the first place. Right? You let enough people talk shit about you for a long enough period of time, and you can forget that the reason that you started this channel was because you didn't want to see anybody end up the way you were. In the first year that I had a channel, I probably worked 90 hours a week. I'm not kidding. And for those, well, I was going to say for those who've been around that long, but no one's been around that long anymore. But for the people that were here in the very beginning, I was doing 3 and 4 shows a day because there were people in the first group that said, man, can you do another one? It's so hard for me to stay sober. And I'd go, sure. And then that person would hit me on a direct message at 11 o'clock at night and say, I'm going to go get high, Tommy. I don't know what to do. And I wasn't a sponsor, but I would talk to any fool that reached out. And it's easy to forget all of that. It really is. It's easy to forget all of that. But that's why I started this channel. That's why I sat down in the first place. And the amount of hate. Lisa Miller, have a good night. Sleep well. Hey, Sandy. The amount of hate that has come in can kind of get you off of your game. But in the very near future, I'm going to be living in a different environment. And I'm going to be living in a different environment so that I can go back. Sorry, I just got a wicked funny text. So that I can go back, so that I can go back to being the person that I want to be. Oops. Let me try that again. That's why I started mine too, Brett. It's awesome. Do me a favor, Lindsay. I used to love that name. I didn't even mind that name. It's up. You know, all the people that say he fakes his name. Go look at what I put my PayPal under. However, these days, every time someone says it, it's said as an insult to mean you're not who you claim to be. So, and I'm sure that you're not aware of that, but I tell people this because I usually just remove comments if people say it, right? It's just, I prefer Tommy. And here's why. Brett Miller ripped off a shitload of people, right? He was a con man. In fact, he was really good at it. Tommy Scoville's never ripped off anybody. I never, ever ripped off anybody. Tommy Scoville didn't steal from anybody, didn't break any laws, didn't do any of that crap. So I'm sticking with Tommy. Tommy was the embodiment of all of the things that I wanted to be. And it was a beautiful thing to leave behind Brett. Now there's a shitload of assholes out there that would like to force me back into being something that I used to be. And I'm not. I don't see any track marks. I'm not shooting any dope. And no matter what these people want to tell you, I was never really a coke sniffer. And it's funny as hell trust me, people, if I were going to do a drug ever again, the only one I would do is heroin. Sorry, but that's just, I mean, that to me was the drug that made everything else go away. It made pain stop, right? Physical, emotional, spiritual, everything. It took care. It delivered. And the only thing I had to do was pay $600 a day and give up my soul. And for that, I felt no pain of any kind, ever. And I don't do that anymore. I'm cool as hell. Now, cannabis? Yep. No apologies. Suboxone? Yep. No apologies. You don't like that? Piss off. Right? This is a harm reduction channel. It's not a sobriety channel. It's never been a sobriety channel. It's not. Sobriety doesn't work for everybody. It may sound like a real shocker, but it doesn't. There are people who are never going to be able to quit. I've met a lot of them. For those people, I would like to reduce the harm to the point where they can exist. Hey, Lindsay, someday I would like to have you on here. I think you and I could do a very interesting interview because you know a little something about this. For those that don't know, Lindsay has been attacked worse than I have. She's been attacked worse than just about anybody online. And her sin was having a boyfriend that everybody thought, well, we like him. So if he says you're bad, you're going to be bad. And we're going to destroy you. And we're going to call people. And we're going to report you. And we're going to do all this crap. Get a life. No shit. Get a life. Right? Do something with your life that's positive. Because I'm going to make you a promise, man. And this is something I know something about. Right? Look at the people who are currently moving toward love and look at the people who are currently moving toward hate. Look at them. Literally. You will watch hate destroy people. They will start to look like shit. They will start to look bad. They will get bags under their eyes. All of these things that happen that you start looking unhealthy. Hate kills. right? Hate kills. Bottom line. You don't know how to respond to people that say hi. Around here on the lifeboat, we say hi to everybody. You see, the cost of admission on this channel, despite what you might hear, isn't a super chat. It's not a membership. It's the desire to be better tomorrow than you were today. It's a desire to move toward love and away from hate. And if you can deliver on those things, then you're going to feel very welcome here. I promise. It's a pretty cool audience. The best thing that I ever did was assemble the people that show up here. Literally, the best thing I've ever done in my life. Because even when my life went to hell, the people on this boat came together and took care of one another without any assistance from me. And I apologize for not assisting. But the connection is a real thing. It really is. And the opposite of addiction has always been connection, and it always will be. And I'll tell you something. One of the fears of the life that I'm living currently is that I don't connect. I don't. That's a reality. And I know it flies in the face of all of the things that I tell you. But the difference is this. Hey, I love you guys too. The difference is this. When I connect with somebody, I bring to their door a group of inbred psychopaths who are going to do everything they can to destroy their life. So I don't like any of you. I might love you guys, but there's not a friend in this pack. Right? You want to take a shot at my friends? You can badmouth Squirrel. You can badmouth my brother, maybe my brother's cat. Those are the people, and I think that the four of us can take it. Right? For real. Connection is the it's the medicine that can cure just about everything. And negativity and hate is a cancer. You don't believe it? Go look at the people, right? You know who I'm talking about. Go look at them. Tell me how they look. Go look at videos that I did, right, with my ex-partner, right? Not girlfriend, partner. Go look at the videos we did together and look at the videos he's doing now. How does he look? Does he look like the same cat that was doing videos with me? Hate will destroy you. It will literally take you apart. And sadly, I don't even feel bad anymore. I started watching several years ago, drawn by information on addiction and drugs. I'm a grandma and a foster parent navigating these day teens. The scene is so different from the 70s. Boy, I'll tell you what, it really is. And currently, here's some good news, right, on the drug front. The amount of fentanyl coming across our border is at about a 6-year low, right? That's the good news. The bad news is it's still coming in. And there's so much of it already here. It's coming across in loads, or was coming across in loads so large that a lot of the stuff that's hitting, it'll be years before the smuggled stuff across the border is actually consumed. And it's frightening in and of itself. And by the way, the fentanyl's disappearing, right? If it's getting harder to bring the stuff across the border, then if you go with fentanyl, right, and you bring a chunk of fentanyl this big, you can create this much dope by cutting it. And right, if you do that with nitazines, you can bring a considerably smaller amount and create a much larger nitazines, whatever you want to call them, iso and nitazines. That drug is so much stronger than fentanyl. And I know it sounds stupid, right? Because, hey, Lee, it's good to see you. Because you bring up heroin and you go, well, that's 30 times stronger than morphine. And you go, God, we don't need anything, 30 times stronger than morphine. And then fentanyl comes out and they say it's 50 times stronger than heroin, which, by the way, is BS. It's BS. There's nothing out. I mean, I don't know how they quantify that, right? But I did plenty of fentanyl in my life. I didn't do this garbage that's coming across the border, right? I did alpha fentanyl. We used to get pharmaceutical fentanyl, but I did mountains of it. And it was not wildly stronger than now. What they're bringing across, I can't comment to any of that. I honestly, this isn't even fentanyl. It is analog of fentanyl. It's as close to fentanyl as you're going to get making it in a garage in Mexico, right? With ingredients brought in by China and North Korea. And now India is joining the party and getting as much dope over here as they possibly can to try to kill us. And make no mistake, I've said this so many times, you guys are going to be sick of hearing it, but if your product is killing your customers, you make it weaker. Does that make sense? See, your customers hand you money. You give them dope, they hand you money. As a dope dealer, you'd like 1,000 of those people, because dope guys who are on heroin or on any kind of opiate that you have a habit on, they got to buy every day, and they got to buy enough, right, to use 3 or 4 times a day. So very often they're buying 2, 3 times a day. You get 1,000 of those and you're getting rich, unless of course you kill half of them off, right? So if your customer base starts dying, you yank back everything you got and you put more cut on it. It's a very simple concept. Add more fake. Vitamin B12, inositol, sugar, right? They cut it with all kinds of crap. What you don't do is find out that the product is killing the customer and double the strength. And then you find out it's killing more and you make it even stronger. And then you add xylazine, right? Xylazine is not a benzodiazepine. Everybody says it is because we don't know what the hell to call it. See, they don't make benzos for cows and horses. But xylazine is a tranquilizer that was designed to be put into horses and cows. Not in the vein, by the way. It was designed to be put into the fat of these animals or the muscle. By the way, the muscle of a cow or a horse is considerably different than the muscle of a human being in terms of how of its density and how it's made up, which is why you jab a horse in the ass with xylazine and you really don't have much problems. But if you miss a vein, you're going to get an abscess and an infection and you may lose a foot. Now, why would you mix 2 respiratory depressants, 2 of the strongest respiratory depressants on planet Earth, and mix them together? Why would you do that? Certainly not to keep your customer base alive. Now, junkies will say, because it didn't have any legs, right? Didn't have any legs. In other words, it wouldn't keep you high long enough, right? You'd kind of go straight up and straight down, not literally, but it'd be a 4-hour buzz. So if you add xylazine, the people nod out way more, so they stay asleep. They wake up dope sick, but it's about 10 hours later. Well, I think Lindsay's probably more right. They're doing it because Narcan won't bring them back from xylazine. No, it won't. It does nothing for xylazine. Narcan, this is how Narcan works, right? Naloxone, Narcan, name brand. You put it in the body and it knocks the opiate off of the receptor. It knocks the morphine molecule or whatever right? But it knocks that off the receptors instantly. So you go into precipitate withdrawal. All of a sudden, all the dope in your body's gone. So you go from, oh my God, dude, what did you do? I'm sick, right? They get very, very angry when you Narcan them. And normally that was good enough. You would Narcan them. See, the dope is so strong now that when they Narcan somebody, the person gets up and leaves the hospital to go get more. And 30 minutes after they walk out, all of that crap reattaches to the brainstem again. You got to Narcan them consistently throughout the night. And that's really hard because a junkie isn't going to stick around in the hospital after you Narcan him back to dope sick. I promise you, he's going out to get more. It's a frightening concept, folks, that the drug supply on our street is not safe. It's a great way to get rid of scumbags, isn't it? People like me, right? Get rid of the bad guys. The rest of the country doesn't care as much. They really don't, right? These are junkies dying till it's one of their kids, right? And then, we got PTA meetings. The one thing that I will say about fentanyl is it is not prejudice. It will kill anyone. That's been a benefit in this war, and at least that this is not considered a black problem anymore. It's not considered a brown problem anymore. This is killing just as many white people as it is black people. And now, in all honesty, the target death for this are guys my age. It's white males between 40 and 60. That's your target death. But it is still the number 1 cause of death for everyone in America between 18 and 50. Our life expectancy in the United States of America is actually dropping because of overdoses. What in the world do people do to afford a $600 a day habit? Well, that was me. And at first, I robbed hardware stores. That was one of my get downs. I had a couple of scams that worked really well for stealing large amounts of things from hardware stores. That was good for a while. Meat, believe it or not, it's the easiest thing in the world to sell. So a lot of junkies steal steak, and you can steal $1,000 worth of steak and sell it for $600. And it may sound like $1,000 worth of steak is a lot. It's not. You'd be really surprised how fast $1,000 worth of steak adds up. And because people eat, it was the easiest thing in the world to steal. But eventually, as a thief, right? Because you're going to sell your body or you're going to steal. It's pretty much where you're at. So I stole. And after a while, you get sick of the fence. The fence is the guy that buys your stolen stuff. And when you first go there, he wants to have a great relationship with you. So he says, you brought $1,000 worth of stuff. I'll give you $650. You go, great. 4 weeks later, you show up with $1,000 worth of stuff. He goes, yeah, man, I don't need any of that unless you want $200. So I became a bank robber because I didn't need a middleman to buy product if the product I was stealing was cash, right? If I was stealing cash, it made it a hell of a lot easier. So I became a bank robber. And these are little baby steps, by the way, right? The first time you steal something this big and you try to trade it for dope. And then the next thing you know, you're giving up your soul 10 cents at a time, right? Until the whole thing is gone. And that's a great note to end on, because I got news for you. I got my soul back. I did. Took 13 years, but I got my soul back. My debt to society is paid. I am a clean stand-up. I was about to say, you know what? I'm a stand-up cat, whether you want to believe it or not. And I'm happy with my soul. And I'm getting a lot happier with those that want to play the game and be douchebags. I'm pretty confident that the day is coming where all of these people are going to get theirs. And I'm not threatening anybody. None of that stuff. I don't got time for any of that. But the world is going to turn on hate. I know this. I'm a genius. No, but I've watched the world long enough. You've heard me say it how many times? Pull a bowstring far enough, and when you let go, it doesn't go back. It flies in the opposite direction a whole lot farther. That is why throughout the history of our country, you got kids who turn into the most leftist, right? They want to protest. But if your parents are leftist, that doesn't work. If your parents are all woke, you're going to become conservative because it's the only thing you can do to buck your family, right? You have to stand on your own 2 feet. If dad believes this, I'm believing the opposite, right? We don't realize our dads are geniuses until we're in our mid-30s. When we're 15, we know that our dads know nothing and that we know everything. It's silly, isn't it? Sorry. Hey, I love you guys too. Now, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. We're going to, between now and the next time I see you guys, I'd like you to reduce a little harm. Huh? And I will be here tomorrow night. I'll be doing another show. I don't know if you've noticed, but I busted an hour on this one, folks. I went a little bit longer, and I'm not in any pain. I was going to do an hour and a half. I'm going to stand up, and I'm going to walk away from this while I'm not in any pain. And that way I hope to be back tomorrow. I was going to do Karen Reed this morning. I'm not going to do anything that is going to hurt my back. I'm just not. This is the first shot I've had with no back pain in a really long time. And in answer to the 10 emails, Reese and I are not getting back together. I promise. She wouldn't want that any more than I would. She may say stuff like that from time to time. Trust me. The both of us have realized the folly of our ways. We made really cool content. We were not a great match. And that's just how it goes. So between now and the next time I see ya, end a little, try to reduce a little harm, end a little hate, move toward love. And I'll see you guys soon. Oh, and for the love of God, journal. Take it easy.